So hello everybody. If you are fed up of trying to make resolutions only to break them, then you're not alone. Okay, in this video we're going to explore strategies for making 2025 the best it can be without getting into that trap of setting and breaking resolutions by the end of January. I'm going to share 6 simple strategies. These are so simple, but most people don't do what I'm about to share. So if you'd like, instead of a sense of failure, a growing sense of satisfaction, self-confidence, and the sense that you're gaining momentum, let me know in the chat. Put a hell yeah if that sounds good. All right. So why don't resolutions work? Well, if you are watching me live, do say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are in the world. Let's get into this. Why don't resolutions work? Number one, they're coming from a place of lack. Often there's that sense of I'm not enough. I have to improve in order to be okay. And what this means is that you're shoulding on yourself. Okay. And I encourage people to not should on yourself. Okay. So people, when they start making resolutions, they tend to be big resolutions. They put a lot of pressure on themselves, call it this kind of 1st of January resolve. You know, for instance, we know that lots of people join gyms, but they don't keep up their membership. And gyms could make a lot of money if they could just figure out how to stop people from quitting the gym. And partly it's due to the reasons I'm talking about. I've been to gyms where on the first time you go have a gym session with a personal trainer, the session is so hard. I remember feeling really stiff for days afterwards. And I did think, wow, if they just made it a bit easier, I wouldn't have such a big gap between the first time I went and the second time I went. Okay, so we create all this pressure on ourselves. We have huge expectations. Human beings tend to overestimate what they can achieve in the short term and underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. And because they're coming from this place of lack, because people are setting resolutions that are too big, it's easy to fail, to give up, then to create negative beliefs. I don't have the willpower. I don't have what it takes. And, you know, it's like if you can imagine your subconscious is like a movie screen, okay? You're putting ideas into your head all the time. You know, people have experienced this habit of setting resolutions and not sticking to them. They can start telling themselves, I don't have self-discipline, I'm not enough, I'm not motivated, I don't have sticking power, nothing ever works out, I'm lazy, I'm not deserving, I don't have enough luck. None of that is true, okay? The problem, as BJ Fogg says, is we are not the problem, okay? Our approach to change is, okay, it's a design flaw, not a personal flaw. Okay, so that's a quote from BJ Fogg, who's a behavioral change expert from Stanford University. On my Building Resilience course, I teach people how to break those limiting beliefs, how to shift those limiting beliefs, and how to develop new strategies that actually can tip the scales towards success, because there's a massive opportunity. If you get your approach right, the benefits, as I said earlier, self-belief, self-esteem, momentum. You know, I did a very easy challenge last year, I think it was, a 1-minute challenge where I encouraged people to just do a task for 1 minute every day for 30 days. And one person in the group particularly took this to heart and kept going with her 1-minute challenges and did it for months. She was like the model student, if you like. And she really said, you know, it gave me a sense of satisfaction. For me, one of the routines that I started a few years ago now is when I woke up, instead of looking on Facebook, looking on my phone, I'd get up, have a drink and do exercise. And I've done that pretty consistently for the last 3 years, and I think my body has benefited from it. A year ago I decided, behind me is a piano, to aim to play the piano for 5 minutes every day. And I did that because I had the goal of 15 minutes every day. I just wasn't doing it. What was interesting is when I switched to 5 minutes every day, I found that I was doing that more often, and that 5 minutes would often translate into 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, so I've still got a lot to learn, but I'm a lot further along with my piano playing than I was a year ago. So if you don't know me, my name's Simon Pimenta. I had ME, CFS, fibromyalgia for 8-9 years. At one point I couldn't walk for 1 minute, but I got back to work, got back to life. Did get an injury a while back that slowed me down a bit, but life is still amazing. Life is still great. I love the work I do, working with people like you who are dealing with challenges like ME, CFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID. And I create a lot of free content, so do subscribe to my YouTube video. Check out the playlists. I've created a mini course, so check out all those resources. If you've got any questions, let me know. So my goal is to help you move towards your goals. So let's dive into that in this session. So the first strategy is to connect to your wise self. Okay. So BJ Fogg says, this is a quote by Vincent van Gogh. He said, "If I am worth anything later, I am worth something now. For wheat is wheat, even if people think it is grass in the beginning." So I invite you to close your eyes, and I invite you to just contemplate what he's saying in that quote. For me, what he's saying is that actually right now, you and I, you are enough. You are lovable. You are deserving. You are enough as you are. And I invite you just to consider that instead of coming from instead of coming from that place of lack, I have to make these changes, I have to set resolutions to become a better person. Start from the place that actually you are enough now, okay? The second step is to embrace the part of us that has those beliefs that I'm not enough. I call this part the wounded part. You can call it whatever you like. Some people call it their wounded child, their wounded self, the adapted child. Whatever feels right for you. But just recognize that it's that part of us that has limiting beliefs, has limiting negative identity. So I don't know why my alarm keeps going off. Let's just ensure that's going to stop. Okay, I think that's fixed now. So we need to embrace that part of us, connect to it, listen to that part so it feels seen, heard and feels safe. And when it experiences feeling heard, seen and safe, then it can be receptive, it can be guided into new ways of thinking. Because really what we want to do is we want to really become intentional about our identity. If our identity has been wrapped up in all those beliefs that I shared on that movie screen, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm lazy, then we need to shift our identity. We need to recognize, as BJ Fogg says, we're not the problem, it's just our approach that needs refining. Okay, so strategy 3 is to identify your wildly important goal or WIG. So what is your vision that you have for yourself? And imagine changing what's on that movie screen, okay? We want to cultivate the belief that I have self-discipline, I am enough, I am motivated, I do have sticking power, things work out, I am awesome, I am deserving, I have enough luck, okay? According to research, people have about the same amount of luck on average, okay? But some people have the belief that they have less luck than others. So we want to cultivate a new identity for ourselves. And this takes practice. I encourage you to visualize each day you behaving the way you want to behave. On my Building Resilience course, I teach people how to tap into the power of visualization. Know that we are visualizing all the time. You are good at visualizing already. It's just that you might be good at visualizing in ways that are not helpful. And that's something that's very common. It's something that I was very good at one point. Okay, if you'd like my little wildly important goal worksheet, just type the letters WIG in the chat and I will make sure you get a copy of that. Okay, so step 1, connect to your why self. Step 2, embrace that wounded part. Step 3, identify your wildly important goal. Step 4 is about taking action. People change best by feeling good, not by feeling bad. That's a quote by BJ Fogg. All right. So I really invite you to think of 3 actions you can take. Okay. You're going to choose 3 actions. And again, another quote by BJ Fogg: the easier behavior is to do, the more likely the behavior will become a habit. This applies to things that we have considered good and bad. It doesn't matter. Behavior is behavior. It all works the same way. Okay? So, I invite you to consider 3 actions you could take. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose something that is going to give you joy or enjoyment or fun. So, for example, for me, my first goal, which is for me a joyful thing, is playing the piano. Okay, I'm sticking with that. 5 minutes of piano every day. If I can't manage 5 minutes, I'll just play for 1 minute. Yesterday I was feeling quite tired. I had a late night on New Year's Eve, and I thought, right, I'll just play for 1 minute. That 1 minute did translate into 5 minutes, but just saying to myself, I'm going to play for 1 minute just gave me the motivation to just do that. Whereas if I'd said to myself, I'll play for 15 minutes, I wouldn't have done it because I was thinking, no, I really need to get to bed and have an early night. Okay, so first thing, it's got to be something that is fun and joyful. So put in the chat, let me know whether you're watching live or the replay, what's something you could do that's going to bring you a sense of joy, sense of pleasure, sense of fun. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Second thing, you might consider that what is something that's going to be a challenge or an opportunity for growth. So for example, mine at the moment is to do 1 minute of kickboxing every day. So just outside, just down there, I've got this dummy that's used in martial arts studios where you can practice punching and kicking this dummy. I'm just going to make sure for 1 minute every day I do some kickboxing. And I started yesterday. It was very cold and I didn't feel like it, but I went out and just did a minute or 2, and so I got started. All right. So that's going to be my little challenge growth. Another one I did think of is writing a daily plan, which is something I tend to do anyway, but at one point I wasn't very good at that. But consider for you, what is something you could do? There would just be a gentle challenge. And then the third thing is, what is something you could do where there is some resistance? All right. So KT says walk in nature. Lovely. So that's great. And maybe just feel free to just say how long you might walk in nature for, so that you know you've got a sense. And obviously it might change, but if you just give yourself a really easy goal, notice what I said. I play piano for 5 minutes. I kickbox for 1 minute. The thing that I resist is doing some weeding, so I'm setting myself that goal again to just do 1 minute of weeding every day. And it's something I feel like, yeah, I can do that. I can maybe put my dinner on and just go and do 1 minute weeding whilst my dinner's cooking. All right. So think about that. What is some action you're going to take? So let me know. I see there's a few people watching, so let me know in the chat. So that's step 4. Okay, taking action. Step 5 is how can we reinforce that positive identity that you have, that you're going to be cultivating. I encourage you to embrace the growth mindset. So really think about, okay, you know, if you're not saying right now, oh, I'm very consistent, you can say I'm learning to be more consistent. Okay, so that's the growth mindset, is we don't have to have nailed everything right now, but we have that excuse me, that attitude, I can learn this, I can get better at this. Consider what you can do to have a tribe of people supporting you. So I am in January going to be continuing the resilience group coaching. This is an environment where you can just be supported. I encourage people to celebrate their wins, so we get into that mindset of celebrating wins. So that brings me on to the next thing. Point 6 is to review your progress. You could do this at the end of the day. You could do it at the beginning of the day, just reviewing your previous day. How did I get on? I encourage you to write down your goals, and if you want a little action record where you can keep track of your goals, again, pop the word action in the chat and I'll make sure you get that sheet, which is a way of just tracking your goals and tracking your progress. So it's really important when you achieve your goals to remember to celebrate. So I've talked about this before, but BJ Fogg talks about, he set himself the goal of doing 2 press-ups every time he went to the bathroom. And then every time he did his 2 press-ups, he would celebrate, he'd give himself a little fist bump. Okay? When you acknowledge the win, celebrate the win, you get good feelings, which actually boost your immune function. And this reinforces the desire to maintain the habit. Okay? So they're my 6 tips for you. Okay? Number 1, connect to your wise self. Number 2, embrace that wounded part of you that has the limiting beliefs. Okay? Don't have to let it rule the show. Okay? Number 3, identify your wildly important goal. Number 4, take action. Make sure your action steps, you can start really small. You can go big if you like, but starting small is really important. There's a Japanese approach, which is do one thing for 1 minute every day for 30 days. Then you get into the habit. Then you can do it for longer. Anytime you're ready to do it for longer, but just aim to just do it for 1 minute every day. You teach yourself that you can stick to something. Step 5 is to reinforce the positive identity that you have. Okay? And step 6 is to review, and that includes celebrating your wins. So hope that's given you food for thought. If you've got any comments, let me know. If you'd like more help right now, I offer one-to-one coaching. I offer a course called Building Resilience, where you can go into all these concepts in more depth. If you'd like to know more about the course, you're welcome to have a chat with me, and you can find out how you can get ongoing support. And as I say, I'm going to be continuing the resilience group coaching. We're going to meet weekly, and if you'd like to know more about that, just put group in the chat. It's a way of being part of a tribe where you get support, encouragement and inspiration. So if you'd like to know more about that, just put group in the chat. So thanks everybody for watching. Wishing you a great 2025. Just consider that you can make a difference. Okay, dare to dream big dreams. Most importantly, take action no matter how small. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. If you've got any suggestions for topics that I cover, let me know. For now, I'll say bye for now.